Good afternoon. My name is Doug Line, and I manage the OTEC ServiceNow development group here at OTEC. And we wanted to take a few moments today to work primarily with staff members who generally use ServiceNow to request services via OTEC. And what I'm going to do, I have already put in the chat the URL for the test instance. And let me chat window back up again. I will paste that link out there one more time for folks that that may just be joining. So I'm just kind of flipping back and forth. This is our production instance, and this should be fairly familiar to everyone. It's got kind of that red background and kind of branding to it. And before we get in, I wanted to make sure and reiterate to everybody that depending upon what your role is within OTEC and what job you have, your screen and the applications and modules that you have available to you are going to look vastly different than the applications and modules that I see. I'm an administrator on the ServiceNow system, so I see basically everything. In general, we're expecting this group, you're only primarily going to be seeing the self-service. There are several of you that manage groups that may have more applications and modules available to you as a function of having that role within the organization. But I just kind of wanted to put that out there before we go further. And I'm probably going to impersonate somebody and go through this from their perspective, just so it's a little bit more clear for everybody. So what I'm going to do, I'm here on the production site. I'm just going to go ahead and log in. This should not be a surprise to anybody. This is the same instance that we've been working on for basically a year. What you are, the majority of you are probably seeing this view when you log in, the self-service view. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to flip to another window and I'm going to log into our test instance. This is the instance that's already been upgraded to San Diego. So a little bit different already looking. I'm going to go ahead and click log in. And the credentials that you use to log into ServiceNow are the same credentials that you use when you're logging into your computer in the morning. So if there are some of you that might have some questions around, what are the credentials that I should be using? So here I am now in our test instance that already has been upgraded to San Diego. The data here, the items that you're seeing are not going to be the same items that you see are on production, because this data is about 2-ish months old or so. And we basically go through a process called cloning, where we move the data from production back down to our dev and test sites, usually quarterly, sometimes maybe biannually. So this data generally it's not going to be up to date. And so just kind of letting folks know. I'm going to take a look here. Who am I going to? Is there anyone out there that would like me to impersonate you so that we can see what it's going to look like from your viewpoint when you log in? If not, I'll just pick somebody at random. Okay. I'm going to go ahead. Let me go to the phone list.
Doug, it looks like Matt volunteered there in the chat.
Okay. All right.
If you were looking for somebody still.
All right. So thank you, Matt. So nobody else except administrators can do this. So I'm just letting everybody know. So I'm going to impersonate Matt. And the first time that Matt logs in to the production instance on the 11th, he's going to see something like this. And there's going to be a couple notifications here about, how to work your way. You can go through this. It'll show you where everything is. You could have closed it, whatever. So one of the things that ServiceNow is doing is they're moving away from a display method called home pages in lieu of some things called dashboards. And well, before I go into that, let me just go through real quick the menus, and I'm going to go over here and I'm going to impersonate Matt over here also. This is on production. So here I am, I'm in as Matt on both the production instance and the test instance. And he's got access to self-service. This is the application self-service that contains homepage, the OTTA phone list, all these kinds of things that are available already. I can tell that Matt manages somebody, at least one person, because there's the office space assignment application that's available to managers. And again, depending upon what your role is in the organization, you may see some other applications over here also. Primarily, what we want to focus on is the self-service. So within this navigation pane here, there is, first one is all applications, and then we have favorites, and then we have history. Those same things, if we go over to the new test instance, they're up here. We just moved them. Oh, not we, ServiceNow moved them. So if I click on this all, there is the same application, the two applications, self-service and office space, Matt has available. All the different modules are still available within there. You can go to the phone list. And there he can, this is all the OTEC members' phone numbers and things like that. If I come back, there's favorites. That's the same thing that we did over there in production and history. ServiceNow redid history just a little bit. They've started grouping it by days. So depending upon how busy or you are, this list can get pretty long. You'll see basically on any one of these approximately 30 entries. So depending upon who you are and what kind of things you do. And the other thing I'm going to do here real quick, I'm just going to go to this self-service. So here's the self-service dashboard. This is the same. The items are the same: pending approvals, open incidents, requested items, knowledge widgets, news, top requests, and a link to the service catalog. If I go over here, my pending approvals, my open incidents, my requested items, knowledge search, news. This is empty only because the data doesn't come down when we do the cloning. I think you saw, the news items that were up there that were available. A little bit different, top requests, and then the service catalog. So everything is still there. It's just moved around a little bit. Now, there are some people, and Jeff, can you do me a favor and just identify a staff member for me that is not that's a member of the Department of Higher Education, but is not a manager, doesn't manage anybody.
Sure. I believe Patty Klein.
Okay. So I want to show a little bit different look here because Patty will see a little bit different interface. So Patty is seeing here, this is a home page. It's not a dashboard. If you remember, when Matt was logged in, that took him directly to a dashboard. And if Patty wants to see that same dashboard, she can go to all, go down to dashboards, and then dashboards, there's recent, there's dashboards that are owned by you, there are dashboards that are shared with you, and then there are all that you have access to. In this case, I just went to shared with me. So I click on that. Now Patty is on a dashboard version of that same employee self-service. You can still get to the same items. It's just whether it's going to be via a dashboard or via a home page. So does anybody have any questions around that difference between a dashboard and a home page? I know it's a little wonky, but the elements are still there. You'll be able to tell if you're on a dashboard because you'll be able to see this little 4 square deal, and it'll give you the dashboard overview. But now if I go here in Patty's case and go back to homepage, this is going to drop her back into a traditional homepage. Data elements here will be exactly the same. Everything will function exactly the same. It's just, how ServiceNow is drawing the data for you. So does anyone have any questions around that? Okay. I wanted to point out a couple things that you may or may not be available or be aware of. I'm still in here as Patty. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to go over to this knowledge section. One of the things that OTEC has been doing is really been filling out these knowledge base articles. And you can see the one here for all staff has 101 articles. The one specific to DHE has 15 articles. And I would, you can go into any one of these and kind of, scroll around and find information about, how to do password resets. If there's policy information, software information. One of the things though that we're asking folks to start taking a more active role in is if you come in contact or come across a knowledge base, if you can do us a favor and at the very least give it a star rating, 0 stars or 1 star being the worst article you've ever seen, it wasn't informative, it didn't help, 5 stars being the best article you've ever seen, it was very well written, it helped you resolve whatever the issue was that you were working on. And if you're really looking to spend some time, if you come down to the bottom of any knowledge article, um, you can identify whether this article was helpful, and if it was or wasn't. Let's say there was a part of the article you wish would have been fleshed out, or there would have been more of a further explanation of a concept or something like that. If you put that comment there, that will let these authors know how to improve these knowledge bases. And what we're trying to do with building these knowledge bases out is um, leading me to kind of our next concept that is new in San Diego. And it's a technology called technology contextual search. And for you all, it works a little bit like this. So if I go to the service catalog, and again, depending upon who you are, you're going to see potentially some different service catalog items that you want. I'm going to pick one of the desktop support service catalog items, and I'm going to select this one for installing desktop software. So as I go down through here and I'm identifying, what I need, this one won't work because we don't have a short description in it. Sorry. Let me go back up here.
Yeah, Doug, a good example may be the
Service.
service. Yeah, those at the top. Yeah, thank you.
So if you get yourself in a situation where you're like, I don't think any of these that are out here really address what I need to do. If you come here to this create a new service request, and you start filling things out. I need to have Microsoft Visio installed on. Now, I don't know if you're noticing, but down here in the bottom, what we're doing, we're bringing to your attention as you're typing things into the short description. Excuse me. These are knowledge base articles that ServiceNow thinks is applicable to what you're asking. The other thing it's doing is giving you links to also catalog items that are already available that you may want to use, as opposed to using this just generic item. So we're hoping that what this will do is potentially help you resolve issues before you even have to submit anything. So let's say you thought, oh, well, maybe this knowledge base article is going to help. So if you click on that, it won't take you off of the page, but it will show you the contents of that knowledge base article. And if that particular knowledge base article helped, you can just say, hey, this helped, thanks. And that will help the algorithm that's used within ServiceNow to kind of move knowledge base articles to the top. And again, it'll let that author know, hey, this, that was able to help somebody. And if there is another service request item that's already out there, i.e. this install desktop software, it'll take you directly there and you can see, oh, how do I go about using this? So does that make sense? Does that help? At this point, I don't know, and you can get to those same items if you want. Oh, I guess what I didn't show, if you really want that navigation pane still kind of pinned over on the left side of the screen, if you just click on this pin, we'll pin that over there for you if you want. And if you want to unpin it, you can just click that again, and it'll move it back up there. And when you click here, it'll disappear. Um, Anybody have any specific questions about anything? Or Jeff, did I miss anything? Is there anything you think I need to cover a
Um,
bit more?
yeah, Doug, I think that was well covered. Maybe the only thing you could show them, maybe if they wanted to favorite something, um, how they can do so at the top center.
So let's say the service catalog. Let's say you want you, hey, this is a good page. I would like to favorite so I could get here pretty quick. If you go here to the center, you'll note this little star right here. If I click that, what that did was saved a favorite to the test instance, the service catalog, and it's right there and it's available for you to use whenever you want. So if we go back, excuse me, to the home page, you could then get to that service catalog by either going here to the service catalog, or you could go here and go to the same thing. So it's just another little navigation aid if you want. Anything else?
I'm not sure if you covered the history also, like they can go
Yeah,
back.
we did earlier.
Yeah.
The last item here, again, as we've been kind of clicking around here, ServiceNow has been keeping track of where I've been, and you can see it's in chronological order. So the stuff that you've been to most recently is going to be at the top up here, and then further on down, you're going to see it's separated out by dates. So, okay. How about anything else? Anyone?
Hi, Doug. I have a quick question. Are there any tutorials in the ServiceNow, uh, like for the manager time off, for example? I don't remember the specific word you used for navigating and using SharePoint. We use SharePoint folders for, CCGS and some of our program submissions. So I just wondered if there was anything that I could use to kind of help share with my team and folks who also use those knowledge. Okay.
So here, I'm not positive. It does not look like. So assignment rules, Outlook mobile devices, Outlook, and we can go and take a look at these. And this does not look like that addresses anything SharePoint related. Is that something that you would like to see?
I know that, I'm not really an expert in it. I'm kind of just was kind of just thrown into it, but I've kind of learned my way through it a little bit. But if there were some additional resources that you could share that you were aware of, I know that my team specifically would be interested in learning more without obviously speaking on behalf of staff who's our manager, but I think she would agree.
Um, and what is are you using SharePoint to share files?
Yeah, so we use it, for example, CCGS is a group of graduate deans who all have access to this central file and they upload all of their proposal documents, meeting agendas, comments on proposals, things like that. And they use it as a file sharing platform basically. And, you know, we have at times have user access issues with folks who maybe they're not a Microsoft school or device, and they, you know, kind of have issues there. So just ways of troubleshooting that type thing.
And my assumption is that we're using SharePoint over, say, like OneDrive. Has that just, does SharePoint do more than just allow you to share files? Is there kind of like an audit trail about changes?
Yeah, I don't really have the background on why. I know that, you know, one time OneDrive was something we were using. They transitioned us over to SharePoint probably 2018, 2019. I could get those dates to you, and I know we're kind of doing a one-on-one thing, and I'm happy to speak with you directly if we're kind of monopolizing everyone's time.
That's fine. Yeah, we can, I'll look into doing some tutorials around SharePoint, and then we can have a conversation around that, because I think the state's getting a little bit more reasonable about OneDrive and things like that. And I my own, yeah, we can talk later.
Sounds great. Thanks.
Yeah, no problem. Any other questions? This is your time. The one thing that I would kind of remind folks, because we haven't really done any of these larger like VHE, OTTA kind of meetings where we're generally talking to the folks that are requesting services, but I would let you know and kind of reiterate that it's really in your best interest to use ServiceNow to request services. I know that Matt and some of our other staff are available via email and things like that. But when you're having those one-on-one conversations or emails, sometimes you're just not aware, you know, maybe they're out on vacation, maybe they're out ill. When you're using ServiceNow, basically what you're doing is you're allowing the entire OTEC staff and all of the resources that are available to assist you and your team know about requests that you've got if you're using ServiceNow, because the entire group is always in ServiceNow and actively monitoring tickets and things like that as they come in. So it really is in your best interest if you can help us and open items within ServiceNow. So any other questions, comments? And we're more than willing to do one-on-ones with specific groups. If you've got, you know, other questions around, you know, what are some of the capabilities that we could be using this for? Are there like some normal, you know, there are requests that you make all the time, but it's, you know, generally through email, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. We're more than willing to have those conversations with any of you. So, excuse me. Any other questions? Okay. I don't hear any other questions or comments. So I'm going to go ahead and give you 30 minutes back. We're not going to need the whole hour. Once we get this particular knowledge base, this session recorded, we will send an email out to Jeff Robinson, and he'll let other folks know where we're going to make this available for any of your colleagues that maybe couldn't have made this meeting and want to take a look at this at a later date, you know, at their own leisure. So, all right. I thank you very much for your time. I hope you have a great rest of the day. Bye.